Welcome to the Speaking of Women's Health podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Holly Thacker, and I'm back in our sunflower house for a special Labor Day reprise. Boy, you can smell fall in the air. It's getting cooler in the morning. Just heard the sound of the school bus. It's kind of the mark of a new season, and Labor Day is kind of an end of celebration of the summer and getting ready for a new school year. And labor can actually mean delivering a baby. And we wanted to reprise and highlight some of the things in season 1 and season 2 and give you a little bit of an update. We're looking forward to being back soon on our email platform. If you've subscribed to our free e-newsletter and health tip, you might have noticed you haven't gotten anything in a few months. And that's because we're busy building a new platform to bring you bigger and better women's health engaging information. You could always bookmark our website and check it for updated news. If you like to do social media, you can follow us. And as you might know, we're in the second season of our podcast. And last Labor Day of 2023, we had a podcast on labor, delivery, working people, babies, and women's health information. Most of our information is focused on midlife and beyond women, but we have a plethora of information that can be applicable to all people, especially in the fields of nutrition and health promotion and anti-aging. And we plan to have some more upcoming podcasts on pregnancy, like exercise in pregnancy. I am very blessed that we just welcomed a new baby into our family. My nephew Keaton, who I like to joke is my fourth son, he just had his first baby, a baby boy, or his wife, of course, is the one who went through labor and delivery, Jody. And just last week, a big, healthy 8-pound, 8-ounce boy, Samuel Gray, was delivered. And it was in August, which is Breastfeeding Awareness Month. And so they're embarking on family breastfeeding in terms of you have to have supportive members. And I immediately sent them the link to the breastfeeding podcast that we just recently did. And now that we've had well over 120 podcasts, you can't really search for information or topics on the podcast. And if you've been following us from the beginning and you've subscribed, you get notified. And of course, it's all for free. And you can determine whether you want to listen to the topic. And hopefully you want to listen to most of them because we try to make it as applicable and filled with just lots of information to empower you to be strong, be happy, and be in charge. You can actually go on our speakingofwomenshealth.com website and tap search. And you can search within our website. Now, if you're on your podcast app and you're trying to find us, like say Apple Podcast or Spotify or anywhere you listen to podcasts, you can either type Speaking of Women's Health or you can hit the microphone and say Speaking of Women's Health, and the purple icon with the microphone should pop right up. And ensure that you select all podcasts for Speaking of Women's Health and tap the follow or subscribe button, which is free. And then you can tap on the library and start listening. You can go slower, you can speed it up. Some of my patients tell me, when I listen to your podcast, you're talking slower than you do when I see you in the office. I have to put it at 1.25 speed. My son Stetson, who's been on the podcast and who's starting his own podcast, and I hope to interview him soon on general health topics and genetics and anti-aging and other kind of exercise and life health hacks. He listens to so many podcasts on 2 times the speed. So it all just depends on what you feel more comfortable with. But you can do this in your podcast app, and you can't do it um, on the website, even though you can listen to our podcast on the website. Now, we're also on YouTube. You can go to YouTube on your phone or computer or mobile device and type in or say, Speaking of Women's Health, and just click on the subscribe link. And you can see our podcast. You can see other YouTube video interviews we've done on Speaking of Women's Health. Um, Everything is pretty similar if you're on Spotify, if you're on Rumble. We're called Speaking of Women's Health. So, smartphones, computers, tablets seem to be a popular way to listen to podcasts. People can also listen on their Alexa or their Apple Watches. I kind of have an old fashioned watch. So, hopefully, you've subscribed to follow the podcast. And if you already listened to last year's podcast on labor, you might want to listen to it again because there are so many health tips, and so much of what happens during pregnancy and the health of a pregnant woman does translate into her midlife and beyond health. We just want to make sure that we stay connected with you. We have channels on Instagram and Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, and Threads and Pinterest and LinkedIn and Telegram. We like to feature columns and health articles and free treatment guidebooks, healthy recipes, health calculators. We have information about our concierge custom fit physical program for women, which is a comprehensive set of an evaluation that's coordinated with our wonderful lead nurse, Alex. And you can learn about the program on our website. And if you're able to, we'd like you to consider supporting Speaking of Women's Health, our nonprofit. 100% of the donations go straight to running Speaking of Women's Health, and we're continuously working to provide you with engaging and fresh, helpful content, and we're so grateful for your ongoing support. Thanks for being a loyal follower. Thanks for listening to our podcast. And please give us a 5-star rating, and you can share our content. It's all free with any of your friends and family. And we want to celebrate all moms, new moms, older moms, grandmothers who are helping, family members, fathers. My nephew Keaton took a few weeks off from his new business to be right there to support the mom and the baby. And his stepdaughter Sadie, my brother, a man's man, an engineer, is calling and texting me, about the new baby. So it really behooves all of us to support healthy families at all stages. And now on to our podcast on labor, and happy Labor Day.